Afternoon. It's Shirley with Spirit of Matter. Saidati, Saidati. Now we are in Jupiter day, Mars hour. So ascendant Cancer with the moon on Spica in the fourth house for the time of the recording. This is the forecast for Taurus, ascendant Sun, Moon, or stellium, which means a bunch of planets in Taurus. So if you're any one of these, that could mean something to you, but particularly for the ascendant. Midheaven on the lethal degree of 22 Pisces with Jupiter in the 11th house. And the sun in the 8th house in Aquarius. I mean, you got to give up something. I mean, it's a Jupiter day with Jupiter ruling the ascendant, the Luna on Spica. So the sun is in the 8th house. And Mars, the ruler of the hour, is in the 7th house, which is the 9th for Taurus. Yes, probably. Venus on the 11th degree of Capricorn, Mars Capricorn, Mercury 24 Capricorn. But let's get on with this. Now we are in Taurus horoscope for February. And February, okay. February is not an eclipse month, okay? And so, it is also not a month of too many like oppositions to Neptune, to Uranus, the way that January was, okay? However, you're going to have a bunch of planet Taurus. You're going to have a bunch of planets all up in your 10th house of Aquarius, okay? And not only that, and perhaps after watching Lada, I realized I have not emphasized this enough. Every planet that ingresses into Aquarius greets Pluto at the gate. This is also what we call an opening of a synodic cycle, okay? It's kind of like the way two planets relate, okay? Kind of like the fast-moving planet makes a circle around, what seems like a circle around the slower-moving planet. We call it a synodic cycle. So we're going to have, okay, Mercury, Mars, and Venus ingressing into Aquarius, so 3 synodic cycle opening. But we are going to also have the Sun conjuncting Saturn, which opens yet another synodic cycle. And this is something that is important to stretch, even though, yes, all the planets are direct, we're not having retrogression. We do have to remember Pluto and Uranus are still in their shade period. And that means we are still repeating a version of the themes that played out around the time of the retrogrades, but in a different way, okay? And so we need to be remembering that. However, all the planets are direct. The main issue with February is that this is the first month after the couple of days of January where all the planets are direct. And so you're going to have like a little bit, if you have a sparkly water bottle or a champagne bottle, and you shake it, it's kind of like the retrograde motion, seething through things. When all planets are retrograde, you unscrew the cup, okay? And it just bursts out, okay? It's bursting forward movement. And the biggest issue with that is simply that the drive to action is so strong that you're unstoppable, okay? It has good things to it, but also it has some things where, oh, you're just going to do it. You're not going to be so slow, and you're not going to insist on doing it in the right way. It's like, oh, the heck with it, I just need to do it, okay? And so I want you to pay attention to this, because it's going to play out for you in general. All of the energy, whichever is aspecting anything, okay? Everything is direct, fast forward motion, and grand new beginnings, okay? Grand because the personal planets are opening another cycle, synodic cycle, with an outer planet that is Pluto, and later Saturn, which is not an outer planet, but traditionally it is the farthest planet. So we are absolutely setting in for a grand new beginning. Now, for you, Taurus, this entire month, you're going to have this activity in Aquarius in your 10th house. Now, Pluto has ingressed again into your 10th house in January. The Sun later on, okay, they ingressed together, but the Sun kind of had a couple of hours of catching up. So it's not news to you, okay? Your 10th house is lit. And now if for January, your 9th house was lit, so we're talking about worldviews, international relationship, you're traveling, somebody travels, academic studies, okay? Religious or the lack of, okay? So atheism can be as important in the life of a person as religion, okay? An Orthodox and an atheist, a devoted atheist and a devoted Orthodox can be as incorporating and all-encompassing ninth housers as can be. So it's not necessarily that you are religious, but that your worldview, your beliefs, or the lack of play a big role in your life. In January, February, where we are now, things begin to move forward to your 10th. What is your 10th? Okay, so for those of you who have midheaven in the 10th, it's even more accentuated, because that could be accentuating on your life mission. Okay, what you came here to do is both your ascendant, okay, kind of like you with you is your ascendant, your life path, you walk the path, but the result of you walking the path is your midheaven, and your midheaven is your life mission. Okay, for example, I have both my ascendant and midheaven ruled by Jupiter, my ascendant Pisces, if we take the Pisces, so I tend to my feet, and then I speak up, I do things, I expose things, and then it becomes like what I'm known for. Okay, so me tending to my path or walking or tending to my feet literally is me with me. Okay, but the result of that is me walking my path is the certain legacy that I leave behind. Okay, and that is what could be involving of the 10th. A lesser delineation is that it's just the 10th, okay? It's not the midheaven. And that can simply mean your career environment, one of your parents or you as a parent, your boss or you as a boss, and also still your public reputation, okay? 10th is also, it's a public house, and it's also your public reputation. Okay, even if it's not the midheaven. For example, you could be, I don't know, a CEO, but you are actually known for, I don't know, some foundation that you made for saving pets. Okay, and you're not working in this field at all. Okay, so still you're going to be known both as this person, but have a legacy in another field, if your midheaven is not in the 10th. Saturn is in your 11th. So anyway, right now at this time, there is a strong connection between your career, one of your parents or you as a parent, your public reputation, status, and so on, and your 11th house, which is more like your agenda, dreams and goals, but also networking, a public life. You are a bit of a public figure at this moment in time, okay? And the ruler of Saturn, Jupiter, is in your first house. So there is a lot of emphasis on you through your career, and or through certain social connections. Okay, if you're, for example, a woman and this Jupiter is your spouse, you may have met him in a conference, Or he constantly mentions you, says, my wife, my wife, my wife, and you are the wife, okay? So you might be known even as the spouse of someone in this time. And he talks about, oh, my wife, and then your career. So he mentions what you do. This can also be one of the ways this plays out, okay? And one by one, the personal planets are going to ingress into your 10th. So the first up is Mercury. And let's see when Mercury ingresses. Yes, February. Are in February. Before we do, we're going to talk about the lunations. So February 5, Mercury ingresses to your 10th house. On February 23, it will already ingress to your 11th house. Okay, so it's a very short period of time. What is Mercury for you? So if you are ascendant Taurus, okay, Mercury rules your 2nd house and your 5th house. So it can be your child, or it can also be actually your vocation, your skill, but also your expenses, your values, and your expenses. Okay, 2nd house. That is either yielding you a promotion or causing a demotion. Okay, we're going to need to see what does this Saturn represent, because Saturn is karma as the in the 11th, karma as the accumulation of your past, whether actions, but also misfortunes. If you think about Saturn, it rules agriculture. Okay, you could be planting at the right time with the right moon phase and putting in the good energy, and there are still things that are not in your control. This is also a part of karma. Okay, so karma is not just, oh, I plant, I reap what I sow. Okay, if you actually do agriculture, no, you don't reap what you sow. Okay, you put in your best of effort and you let go and you see what you reap. So Saturn is about the accumulation of this karma. It can be that things have accumulated to the fact that now you are actually demoted, okay, or losing a reputation, okay, and that can be both the result of your actions, but also the result of things that, like, you did your best of effort, and that's just the way it is accumulated, whether it was by your mistakes or you actually did the things right, and that is just not the right path for you, and that's why you're losing this position, or there's some other experience for you to do with it. It's more important for you to have this lifetime than your promotion. Alternatively, you could be getting a career that is now a dream job. You could be getting a dream position of authority in your field. And this could be to do with medical field, to do with scientific field, even to do with astrology as well. Okay, you can have like a little bit of a world renowned, so, and put the title of your profession. Okay, so your income can be very much increased. It can also be that you spend money, Mercury, on your image. This is a great time for you to take a hold of your social media. Perhaps hire someone, or maybe if you're working with your child, maybe your child, or be cautious if it is romantic partner, which is also 5th house, uncommitted romantic partner. But somebody can be helping you to that. You can spend money on having a website, having a public persona that is also digital, that is Mercury. And with Aquarius, you do have a chance to show up as yourself. You have a chance to accentuate on your eccentricity, while remaining in the public eye and having a professional, taking a look at how you can harvest your Aquarius 10th house. You got to see where Saturn is in the natal chart, and also where Uranus, while being thought-provoking, but not to the point where you're canceled. Okay, it's a very tender play. I have no idea how to do this, but there are people who are experts at that. With Mercury, you could be paying money to um, uh, where how to show yourself publicly in a way that is true to your own nature, okay, that is true to your own eccentricity as an authority figure or in your career, but also accessible for people so that they can watch you. And you can go viral with this new image because Saturn is still in Pisces, and you can absolutely go viral. You can have great opportunities at this time. Saturn is not just doom and gloom. Saturn is also harvesting opportunities that the Jupiterian place of Pisces brings. Okay, it can be tremendous misfortune, death, all those things. Yes, but it can also be tremendous wealth, and even liquid assets, and all of these things coming to you, okay, as a result of the accumulated action that you put out with that which is not in your control, which is important to remember about agriculture and about Saturn. So, after Mercury, Mercury, first of all, is going to spend the time in your 10th house, and then it's going to go to the 11th. For example, that can very well be you just got a new position, your dream job. Now you're going to need to work on some lecture or some storytelling or stuff that you have to present in a conference or a digital conference. And when Mercury strikes your 11th, then you could actually be doing so. In that case, because Mercury rules your 5th house, then both your values, 2nd house, and your hobbies, which is also 5th, or children, are appropriate to mention in such a lecture. Okay, you could use what you do for fun, Virgo, in the analogies that you present to the people in the 11th. Okay, you can work on this. First you get the job, then you showcase your abilities, and it's actually going to be fun for you because it's the ruler of your 5th. If it's not like horribly malefic for you, then it can actually be a very potent, fun time, joyous time. You're getting your dream job, and you using your hobbies to convey a message. So the analogies, Mercury, are also going to come from there. Next up is Mars. And Mars is ingressing to your 10th house on February 13. Okay, so as right after the lunation, a couple of days after the lunation, the moon is already visible, and the ingress, of course, both Mercury conjuncts Pluto. Okay, you understand it's a big new beginning. Whatever Pluto in the 10th, it is for you great oscillations in your reputation, your relationship with one of your parents, or you as a parent, and how it is affected by one of your parents, at least one of your parents. And so Mercury itself rules children, or childlike curiosity, but also the trial and error, engineering, alchemy, heuristics, and press, and trading, of course. Yes, Mars. Now, what does Mars rule by you? And Mars is a bit more problematic, okay, for you, because Mars rules your 12th house. And the moon is accentuating on the 12th when Mars ingresses, okay? The moon is in Aries. But also Mars rules your 7th house. So just like Scorpio ascendant, you have the ruler of your 12th also as the ruler of your 7th, okay? Which means that you could be suspicious, but also not paranoid at all in your suspicion. And your partner, whether consciously or unconsciously, can undermine you a little bit, but you can also have tremendous, beautiful, intimate sex life, which is also the bedroom. It is the 12th. This is an evergreen teaching for you. Just the ruler of the 7th being also the ruler of the 12th, okay? And the pros and cons of that. Now, because Mars is ruling both your 7th and your 12th, it definitely means that your partner and or open enemy, because it's the 7th, okay, business partner, romantic partner, or enemy, and it could be competitor or whatnot, they are being transformed right now. Your partner, Mars, is being transformed. Okay, but also you have Mars in your own chart. Mars is our drive, our passion, our self-assertion, our war instinct, okay, survival instinct, the I am, setting a boundary. This is Mars, okay? And I constantly, whenever I talk about Mars and relationships, I constantly remember Ksenia Moore's teaching about Mars and how looking where your natal Mars is and working on your Mars and improving your Mars and displaying your Mars, okay? Building up your relationship with aggression, assertivity, boundary setting, okay? And letting your anger out in a constructive way that can attract to you, especially when Mars conjuncts Pluto, okay? Like a magnet. More equity in relationships. Don't afraid to be angry. Okay, if you're watching me, I have Mars 22 Scorpio, basically in your 7th house. And every once in a while, I'm very expressive with my voice. And if I have anger, I let it with all of my voice. Okay, I don't do this to be dramatic. I genuinely let my feelings out through the root chakra, sex chakra, soul or the heart, the throat chakra out. Okay, and clear the energy. So I express my anger vehemently if I feel it vehemently, and that actually grounds me, okay, and liberates and allows me to be a more decent human being, a person that you can have a civil conversation with, okay? So for you, it is very important that you accentuate your Mars and that you build good relationship, because the opening, the synodic cycle when Mars conjuncts Pluto, both you and your partner are going to be transformed by this. It's better for you to do it consensually than to have like an explosive argument with your partner, or that you see this rage coming from your partner that you don't understand or that triggers you, okay? It doesn't mean that your partner is particularly violent. I just look at the birds, just so beautiful. It doesn't mean that your partner's, God forbid, violent or anything like that. It just means that they could be vehemently angry, and this can trigger you because you don't deal with your Mars, you don't express your Mars. And so when they are angry, this scares you, or it causes a reaction, or you feel uncomfortable, and they feel uncomfortable to express the I am with you. That, of course, create inauthentic relationships. Okay, again, we're not talking about anger of, God forbid, being violent to someone. Okay, but we are talking about assertion. We are talking about a constructive release of rage, which is Mars Pluto. Okay, Mars Pluto is not just anger, it is rage. Okay, and so it can also happen that you will express that because it's happening in the 10th. That can be something very public. Okay. And again, you want to make sure you're not like with a toxic partner who try to make you look like you're crazy or stuff like that. That is very important because Mars also rules your 12th house. Okay, so it's both important for you to not go, oh, my partner is crazy, I have a crazy partner, I have a this, I have a that. Darling, go to your Mars, work with your Mars. Forget the partner. Maybe they are crazy, but forget the, okay, sever ties is more important than to say that. But if it's coming from the partner, it's very important to sever ties, and that can be done publicly right now. So this is why I really want you to have all the Mars teachings before this happens, okay, before February 13. When this happens, they can actually be on the positive side, a new cycle with your career, where you understand that how does your career affect your partnership and intimate sexual life, or hidden addictions or hidden wealth or hidden traumas, and also is affected by it. Okay, Mars is both about severing ties with the unjust, with the no longer serving, okay, but with Pluto, it's a core change. Okay, something's changing from the core when it comes to Pluto. Okay, it completely transforms whatever it touches. So, and this is going to be affecting your public life and public reputation. Okay, now you want to make sure that you don't have a sex scandal in the closet, because Mars is the ruler of your 12th, and if you do have a sex scandal with your significant, the person that you have a sex scandal with, 12th house, that could be your partner or your opponent. Okay, so you want to make sure that you know that if you have had things in the bedroom that let's say you wouldn't have today, so accountability, authenticity, addressing that probably is the best card that you can put on, especially when Saturn is in such a compassionate sign as Pisces. And so any attempt to take accountability, and if Saturn is your malefic out of sect, then I highly advise you to learn about Deneb Algedy and approach it through Deneb Algedy, which is also in your 10th. That could be a way for you, okay? Because mostly people hurt when either they are hurt, they are afraid, they don't have the tools to meet their desires in a constructive way. And if you are authentic about this, then you can do the closest that you can to take accountability. That is advised for you, because you are scheduled to have karma there. Okay, you are scheduled to either be exposed. Okay, yes, Neptune is associated with Pisces. It is in Pisces. Neptune is about leaking. Neptune sextiles Pluto, so leaking information. And for you, it is in the 11th house. Okay, so somebody leaks information about you, or you are accidentally leaking information, and so on. So yes, but on other times it can literally mean that you are meeting your sexual life, you're healing your, I don't know, Chiron wounds there, your ability to assert your boundaries there, or to be sensitive to other person's boundaries there. And that gives such a boost to your career life that there can also be a hidden, because Pluto is basically the Mars, the drive is hidden in Pluto. So what you get here is like sexual energy healed, transformed, and you get the boost of energy. So you get the drive. Mars in your 10th can also be certain conflicts that you meet, and they could be from both partners and enemies, like also from hidden enemies. So hidden enemies may reveal themselves, or affect your public reputation in a way unbeknownst to you. So again, you want to make sure you address this, and set boundaries, and address your public reputation. Okay, this is something that is going to be meaningful. And again, if you genuinely had a scandal, every step that you can do towards something like taking accountability is going to be better for you, especially with all these giants in you. Like, no, this not it's no. Okay, you say I am Pisces ascendant, I have Pluto entering my 12th house. I cannot be Bill Clinton. Okay, I'm not, fortunately, but this is not something that can be dealt with in a roundabout way. No, Pluto likes authenticity. Okay, and if you are the exposer of something that a partner that now maybe is an enemy did to you, then of course authenticity is also a card that will play out for you. Okay, you don't want to catch them, like on a tax offense. Okay, you want to address the issue, and if there's like a scientific thing that is difficult for you to expose, okay, with Pluto in the sign of Aquarius, so science, that something that can be addressed. Okay, you might consult with this Mercury person. It's going to help you how to phrase yourself when you need to expose an enemy. Okay, and assert your reputation, because sometimes people speak behind your back, say this person is like this person is like that, and it's like, okay, some of this may be true, some of this may be not true. If you address it as just that, this and that and that, yes, I need to look at this in myself, this and that, no, this is I have my own perspective about this, And the more you're authentic and able to include more complex systems, because Aquarius is about complexity. So if you are able to contain something that is complex and say, and not use the complexity as a gaslight, or say there is a complexity, this is what I can tell of this complexity that I understand, okay? And not as gaslighting, as genuinely, it requires a genuine work there. But Rahu is in your 12th, so you're definitely going to be tending to that. Chiron in your 12th, it's ongoing, it's an eclipse cycle, there are pivotal events, whether you are breaking someone's boundary or you have your boundaries violated in some way. There are certain happenings for you that are scheduled to happen, okay? So it's not about saying, oh, I'm not to blame for that, this is the eclipses, but it's also about being compassionate with yourself, because the 12th is what you didn't know that you didn't know. And also you want to think that about your partner, okay? Because if your partner is, let's say, ascendant Scorpio, their 12th house is Libra, and they have Ketu there, okay? So there's stuff that they're releasing that they didn't know that they didn't know. Yes, so compassion, and Saturn in Pisces can allow for compassion while taking accountability. And this is rare, okay? Of course, it can make things viral as well, okay? It goes together with that, okay? You have to be compassionate because it's a very public exposure. So this is a bit of kind of like my concern about Mars. Mars is action, is an action-oriented sign. Mars in Aquarius can be having a passion and drive, but also a lot of intellect, okay? It's going to be very passionate about the scientific field, and here it can absolutely be either medicine or channeling or wave frequency or energy, or spying, but also creative, something art, and it's kind of like art and science associated. This can absolutely be. Now, Mars is not the last one. We have February 16, we have Venus ingressing to your 10th house. So, Venus ingressing to your 10th house, February 16, she'll be doing that with the moon trining this event, okay? So, it's going to be highly accentuated, and but in a harmonic aspect. And of course, anything that meets Pluto sextiles Neptune, okay, these giants go together. You cannot have nuclear energy in the age where Neptune and Pluto are connected, because the energy is going to be leaking. Whether you want to light a city or you want to ruin a city, nuclear energy leaks in the age of Pluto and Neptune. Okay, there are other forms of energies. You can burn your poop and light a house. Okay, it's done in Germany. I believe that there are many ways of energy production, and I also believe that for different people, different means of energy production are relevant, and perhaps in the future we will have a type of housing or cars or spaceships that are equipped with the energies more compatible to the people that are using it, and we need to stop murdering our energy innovators, okay, because we have a world war and a lot of need of people's land, motherland, and all these kind of things, racism and stuff like that. That is not touch with reality, when the reality is we have real estate, we have gas, we have oil. It's pretty much the assets, and we have a control over medicine and religion, the media, education, and so on and so forth. But all the division created is quite artificial. It doesn't mean that your ancestry is not ancestry or that your lineage is not lineage. It means that when it comes to the people who make these decisions, that is not in effect, okay? So you might be upon the ingress where Venus exits your ninth house and comes into your 10th, she is becoming informed by Pluto. So Pluto in Aquarius, we are also having a reflection on the nature of Pluto. Okay, Pluto is nuclear energy, like I said, it leaks. But also, what is nuclear energy? Pluto is also poop, so energy made from poop. Pluto is also taboo, okay? It's just what I talked about. It's just, Venus ingresses into Pluto, okay? Venus in my third house, and she's ruling my sun in my Venus. So immediately I talk about like my agendas around the topic, okay? And the hidden taboo aspects of this. But Venus Pluto is basically you reflecting upon the nature of Pluto. You're being informed. So Pluto also rules deep psychology. With the sextile to Neptune, you're also talking about the psychedelic, okay, so this aided psychedelic therapy, but also psychiatric drugs aided therapy, okay, it's kind of like the psychiatrist and the psychologist. I made an episode about the Pluto Neptune problems, okay, because sometimes when you conjunct Pluto, which is a hard aspect, you sextile Neptune. Yes, but sometimes you will square Neptune, but trine Pluto. So it's kind of like, I'm at odds with my psychiatrist, but I kind of like my psychologist, but then I have to see a psychiatrist to go to the psychologist, or at other times I'm actually cool with my psychiatrists. They're like, they understand me, we got the dosage, we got the thing, we got everything we want, or we got the agreement that I don't take pills. But my psychologist is not ready to see me if I don't see, like stuff like that, okay? Because Pluto is the psychology, Neptune is the psychiatry, it's the drug assisted stuff. And when they sextile, it's very difficult to meet both of them in a harmonious aspect. Okay, this is the curse of sextiles. Okay, and we're going to have another one in, which is Uranus with the bisextile approaching to perfect in 2026. So you are having very public transformation, personal, because Venus rules you. Personal transformation that's very public in some way, shape, or form. Now, Venus is ruling you, but she's also ruling Libra. Libra is your 6th house, so your physical health. Pluto is also cellular. Okay, think about the nuclei, so cell regeneration. Okay, so it can be to do with your skin, or it can be something as simple as you're taking care of your health. You're wearing your makeup or your hair in a particular way. There can be technology involved with that, with the presence of Uranus in your first house, and then you show up publicly, even for a photo shoot, and the world sees you have transformed. Okay, but first Venus is greeting Pluto. What has Pluto learned? And somehow it is affecting your career. So it can be your voice, it can be your appearance, it can be your values, it can be the way that you personally are affected by the revelations on science. Pluto is also gravity as a wave. Pluto aqua, okay? Not gravity as a particle. People are looking for a lot of particles and finding a lot of particles and matter types when Pluto was in Capricorn. But now we're talking about an air sign, but also we're talking about frequency. Okay, if Sol, Leo is the light, then the way we are discerning light wave frequencies, the wave aspect, not the particle aspect, this is Aquarius. So we're going to see gravity as a wave. Sound therapy is very strong now with Saturn in Pisces and Jupiter in Venus and Venus in Saturn and stuff like that. And it's also nervous system related. So we're going to have a lot of revelations of the power of nervous systems. If we talked about the power of structures and hierarchy, but also dissolution, transformation of the hierarchy with Pluto Capricorn, Pluto Aquarius, we're talking about the power of a nervous system. So something here is affecting you you're going through a very deep personal transformation that is a completely new cycle and is very public for some reason. Okay, if I think I have Sun and Venus, absolutely my voice, whenever I think about something or someone, my mannerisms change and my voice change. It can also be when some energy intercepts mine, or when, and it's a nervous system related. So maybe the astrology, the moon is going over someone's ascendant, puff, I think about them, or our nervous systems kind of like meet in some way. I don't have a logical explanation that is full for that, but it's very apparent in my public appearance, because you can hear it in my voice, in my tonality, and you can identify, even if you're watching other astrologers, you can identify, oh, I hear that one, I hear that one, I hear that one. Okay, I speak about that one, I speak about that. Usually mentioned when it says, when it happens, but now you could be genuinely going through something as public. You won't be able to hide something to do with either your appearance, your values, your nervous system, and your physical health. But it is also transformed before we get the news. You are transformed in the 10th. So maybe as a result of your promotion, you have to have a photo shoot. You have a photo shoot, you find out something about your nervous system is affecting the way you are sounding or looking, or the decisions that you make when it comes to expressing yourself. And that just is a big transformation, but you're transformed by this moment. Okay. Now that we've mentioned the ingresses to your 10th house, we actually have one more ingress, which is the Sun to your 11th, and that happens on February 19th. The Sun is already ingressing into Pisces, and she will open a synodic cycle with Saturn later. So Sun, first of all, ingressing into your 11th, the spotlight, okay, is on your dreams and goals. There are big career moves for you. You need to prepare yourself for fame, okay? So whatever it's, coming out of a closet or tending to whatever is in your 12th house. And 12th house is the bedroom, okay? So fix the bedroom if you can, okay? Fix the bedroom, clean the bedroom, be in the bedroom, and stuff will come up, okay, while you do this. And that can definitely, okay, I fixed my whole house, I cleaned my whole house, and then I exposed stuff that happened with they don't know what's energy. It was like, how is that related? It's holistic. Then to my house, then to my feet, and I speak up. So something like this can definitely happen to you. Try to arrange or wash or tend to your actual bedroom. And it will not be easy for you because you have Chiron there, you have Rahu there. And that will bring up the things that you're dealing with and assist with this Mars, because you're active, you're doing an action. Okay, Mars is action oriented. It can be very helpful. And then you really have to prepare yourself for fame, because the Sun is in your 10th house of public image. Then it goes into your 11th, which is a very public house. It's your dreams, your goals, your allies, but also your enemies around your social network. Okay, when the people that, I don't know, you said a word and somebody's having these conflicts with them. So it happened to me actually on the receiving side. Somebody said the word, they could be drinking a coffee and thinking, not thinking about, not even thinking this anymore. And it triggers stuff in me, and I'm like, oh, I need to understand what is this in me, and it stirs up a whole. Okay, and it's not like I have a conflict with them, as I have a conflict with this word. So it can be something as simple as that happening to you. Mars is in your 10th, Sun is ruling your 4th. That means, again, one of your parents, your upbringing, or your housing, or you as a householder, that is coming to the forefront. It can both be you are given a lecture or a conference or a job interview, and you are discussing things from your home or episodes from your home, or you want to say how good of a task manager. You say, well, in COVID, I had COVID for so-and-so, and I was at home. The way that I recovered, and I still had to manage my kids, my this, my that, and those are the ways that I managed this. And I did, an algorithm trying to find something scientific, and then it's a pitch for your a job interview, okay? Or you're given a lecture and you give some examples from your upbringing, maybe your relationship with your parents. It can also mean that this is a discourse between your two parents, okay? Mama and mama, papa and papa, mama and papa, mama and papa and papa, okay? All of that could be coming to the forefront very publicly. And sometimes it just means that your parents are having a moment and you're like not involved in that all that much. But this is Sun in your 11th, okay? Big publicity. And you can also, in the best cases, you could feel at home in a setting that is social networking or mass media and stuff like that. Why is Marin coming all the time? I need to watch her videos. I don't know why. This is so weird. Okay. See, people that I never spoke with in person. This is so funny. So yes, now let's talk a little bit about the lunations. Oh, the synodic cycles. Yes, first the hard aspects. February 8th, Sun squares Uranus. Sun is in your 10th, right? Yes, Sun is in your 10th, Uranus in your 1st. That might mean that you are going to feel this one on a visceral, physical level. And it's going to change your worldview. What does this mean? It can simply be mommy and daddy are talking about something and you feel it viscerally. It kind of alters your nervous system. It can mean that you shine at your work, okay, or as a boss, and there is some sort of a crisis that evokes you on a very visceral. You have a eureka moment, but it's through a crisis. Somebody steps on your wounds, or just not. This is just like rebels against you. It can also be, or you rebel against someone. I don't know, and there is a eureka about that. And astrology can be a great point with Uranus to solve these crises. Okay, for example, and I like to give that example, had the arguments that I had with people who are Sol Aquarius, and I had a friend for a decade that was Sol Aquarius, were usually around, they would say something, they're Saturn ruled, so they are like for all humanity, we would say something, why do you need the welfare system? Why do you need this? Why do you need that? They should cancel it. And I had to rely on welfare. I'm like, what would I do? Okay. What would I do? It's not that I don't want to make a living. And they go, yes, but you are trying. You are, and it kind of felt like being the Jew friend of Hitler. No offense, I love my Aquarians. But I kind of felt like the Jew friend of Hitler. It's like, not you. I didn't mean you. I was like, but I would die if your system was, all inclusive to all humanity. Okay. And then, funnily enough, they became a government. Not the government official, but their income was by the government. So we had a lot of elections in Israel, and that happened. And another thing was between the resilience of Saturn to the validation of Venus. Okay, so I had another argument that was always around this. Whenever validation, I was like, no, it is validation. And the other person is like, the fuck, how did you even hear that in my words? Okay, because I'm the Venus person. I'm so sensitive when it comes to invalidate, a person who, I don't know, survived abuse or survived this. And when the Saturn ruled person would be, where is my point of interference? Where is what I can learn from this? Where is what I can change? Where is how I can take accountability over me so that I make my life the way I want them? Okay, so you can think about how did those type of arguments play in your life. If you're the Taurus ascendant, you are the Venus person. Okay, you are the validation person. You are don't step on my toes person. You are the person who would see invalidation from miles away, where the person would not even focus on that. And so this could be the source of your argument with one of your parents, especially if you have like a soul Aquarius type of parent or boss. And you have to both hold the fact that you are right and that they are right too. Okay, they're just looking at it from a Saturn, how can I take accountability over my life, and so on, so on, so point of view. And you're just taking it all from, we need to validate the reality of what happened before we can go to the point of interferences. Okay, so values versus validation versus resilience. Okay, connection versus autonomy, space, and stuff like that. How does that play out between you and you as a boss? It can also be you and you in your career. Okay, there is a square between the 10th and the 1st. It's just so. So this is the first house aspect. And then we're going to have Sun opening the synodic cycle. First of all, with Mercury. And again, I don't know if that is a Cazimi or combustion. If this is combustion, it's not talismanic in any way. If this is Cazimi, some people might want to use it for artistic endeavors. And it kind of, it conjuncts Saturn at the same time. Scrap that. It's all I gotta say. Very simply scrap that. So Sun is going to open a synodic cycle with Mercury and Saturn at the same time. What do we know? And you think about Mercury, Sun, Saturn ruled by Jupiter. What do we know about this? Okay. Saturn is structure. Saturn is karma, as both the accumulation of your actions and that which is not in your control, especially in Pisces. This is about this surrendering to the greater thing, okay? So think about Saturn as agriculture. I planted, I can take the best of care that I can do, but there are also things that are not so much in my control. So this is Saturn. Also death, of course, don't forget this. But it can also be the death of a situation, a medical condition. Pisces, talking about the feet, so it can be the skin, the nails, the hair, the bones. Mercury, it can be literally the toes, okay? It can be your hands, your ears, also your skin. We talk about a communication. So we're talking about ancestral lineage, or Saturn as kind of like how do your ancestors affect your communication style? Or how do what you learned from your lineage, father, mother, affect your views of the household, your intelligence, your confidence and shine, your dreams and goals, because this happens in the 11th, the childlike curiosity, Mercury, you have, don't have, your artistic ability. This is a great time for opening. How's the moon? The moon is decreasing, so it's not like a launching something, but it's more like closing, editing, fine editing. If you have any creative projects, because Sun is about creativity as well, very visible creativity. It's about painting, and this can be the finishes. Okay, so editing work, the fine touch before you release or launch something. All of those things are relevant. And as much as it is an ending, we are opening a new cycle. And because the moon is decreasing here, I would dare say this is a cycle of completion. So it's a cycle of closure. It's going to incorporate your hobbies, your dreams and goals, your values, your income, your expenses, but also your career and your worldview. It is a big beginning of a closure. Maybe you are heading towards the fine editing of your book, of your autobiography, of your magnum opus. Okay, thanks Caitlin for that. I never heard of I never knew what magnum opus before Caitlin Kabak launched her Thema Mundi. Yes, I'm not getting direct dividends from that. I'm open to that, but it's, by the way, open for a purchase, pre-purchase. I don't know. You have to pay first, and then it kind of they kind of ship it in the following months. It's a very big deal, so you want to make sure that this is compatible for your energies, for your sundry. I just got me my body butter. So and the topical stuff, they have more the benefics. Okay? They have the malefics, but they have more the benefics. So you want to choose like which one you want. There's a lot of information about that. So that's coming up. Very potent fertility and also creativity. So for you, you might be wanting to work with such a thing, depending on your chart. And so that might be relevant to you, or this information might be relevant to you, especially if you are birthing a book, birthing your own magnum opus. That can be very useful. Yes, so those are the synodic cycles, other than the Pluto one. And as for like big aspects, other than that, yeah, we have Mercury square Jupiter, February 10th. That kind of means that your philosophy and your applied science are at odds. Okay, you have a grand idea, but you come to apply it, and there are a bunch of things that you still need to do trial and error to get this done. This February 10th. Mercury will square Uranus February 17th. I want you to mark this one if you are the kind of person who wants to live on a budget, because this is the day where you will not be able to do so. So yes, sometimes it means money comes in, sudden. Okay, sometimes it means money and technology comes out. Okay, your phone can break. For me, it was like after I did all my purchases for the month, and I was like, I want to do this and that, and now I'm set and I can forget about everything. Then the cable of the fall of the cabal was the cable fall for my cell phone, and I had to buy a new cable. So it can be something as simple as that. Mercury usually rules technology, small things, but then this happens that you might have an unexpected expense on your career, your public image, I don't know, your LinkedIn or whatever you use. And so I want you to mark this in your calendar. Some unexpected either income or expense is coming your way. The moon is growing. Okay, so if it's the beginning of something, it will grow. Do not, if you can, do not, let's say, if you have to take a type of mortgage or loan where it's not fixed interest, I would not recommend this unless, again, I'm not your financial advisor, but unless there's very good reason to, because if it's about interest, it's expected to grow. Will you have like yield from interest? Maybe, I don't know. There are other financial astrologers that are way more prolific at this than me. But this is just my thoughts. Yes, Venus will be squaring the nodes February 7, and then trining Uranus at the same day. Venus is ruling Ketu. So the only concern about Venus squaring the nodes is you're going to say something fated. because this is you, okay? Venus ruling you, gonna have some, and this is in an 18 degrees, not the best degree. So this is happening in your ninth house, so you might have a fated release of health condition. Hopefully not. If it is poisoning, you might release the issue because Venus is Ketu, but also beware of if you have like poisoning or something like that, try to go to Ketu, try to see the divine message in this. Okay, maybe you can contract poisoning like this, and poisoning can also be COVID. Okay, it can also be a virus, especially unfortunately with the Saturn in Pisces and Jupiter in your first. So yes, it can be lung-related virus or something like that. If this is the case for you, you want to look for the divine wisdom. Because Ketu is about the wisdom of the ancients. You want to look at how the ancients would treat that, what herbs are compatible with that. Yes, and I'm not saying that technology cannot be useful because of the presence of Uranus in your first. Maybe technology is useful, but some combination is needed between the conventional and the complementary or holistic medicine. If this is the case, it's very likely to be so. Okay, you want to make sure you know your ascendant for this, and this is ascendant. Okay, those other stuff, it might be your boss health and not you, or your teacher's health. So it's some fated release, and it's going to be a bit uncomfortable because it's a square. Okay, so there's some discomfort to do with that, some conflict to do with that. Usually, as it perfects, it releases. The tension is a bit released. So it's kind of like, oh, you'll just have to deal with it. Because it's the 18th degree, it can be poison related. And poison, you can also think about it psychologically. Okay? You can also think about this as, not gaslighting. I'm not so concerned about that, although it can be. But it can be a little bit of deceit that is affecting you, like a toxicity. That can be the case as well. So this is the Venus square nodes. Yes, we also have the Venus Pluto we talked about, and Venus will conjunct Mars February 22. This means another synodic cycle is opening, and this is in Aquarius. Again, in your 10th house, 6th degree. Well, Mars and Venus simply means you and your partner. And you and your partner, you might make an official announcement if you are. It can also be an official announcement about divorce. So because Uranus is in, if your partner is the 7th, and your Uranus is in the 7th of your partners. Okay, so the partner can be divorced, you and your partner divorcing, or you're divorcing your partner. But it can also be a sudden, unusual type of commitment or partnership that you take on, and you announce it publicly. Okay, it's going to affect your status, how you're publicly known. Mars can be both severing ties, but it can also be something new beginning, and it can also be both. We are also having Rahu and Ketu. The eclipse is ruled by Saturn and Mars, by Venus and Mars, and that means brand new, grand endings, grand beginnings. So if you think about stories, and whenever I think about this, immediately I think about Lada telling about her third marriage, both she and her husband publicly telling, it's not like exposing anything, were living marriages and getting married to each other at a very short term, and it was happening around eclipses that was on personal planets. So this one is not like the marriage, but it can be. Okay, it's not an eclipse, it's not a retrograde, it's in between shades, and so it can be a meeting, an encounter, or an ending, or a meeting that would lead to an end. It can be the beginning of the end of it. But it's not just the beginning of the end of something. Is also very likely an actual beginning. Okay, you already had stuff to do with your seventh and first. Okay, with your relations, marriage, stuff like that. When will I have a husband, wife, whatnot? When Rahu and Ketu were in Taurus and Scorpio. Okay, so the big transformation is behind you, but it's still ruling you and your partner. And for you, your health and your bedroom are affected and affecting your partnerships, enmities, and so on and so forth. Something here is either related to your dreams and goals, either giving you the emotional promotion. For example, it could be you're dealing with a divorce and then you have a brand new beginning because you also live in a job, or you decide to change something. Okay, the presence of Uranus in your first is completely transforming you since 2018. So anything to do with I get divorced, I get married, I start a straight, it sounds very much like like the last straight got divorced, got married, started astrology, became world renowned astrologer. Something like this could be happening to you, but if you're doing not astrology but science, absolutely the same. Anything Uranus related can literally mean you will becoming a world renowned something. So eyes on them, Tauruses, souls, ascendants out there. Souls, I don't know, because some, for me it's like the sixth house. So you see my pets are becoming world renowned. I have this caption of Kitty closely observing a painting that was done and channeled by me. And I don't know who I channeled, but it was so. The last one up, so yes, we have Venus squares Jupiter, February 25. Big everything, big pleasures, big connections, big expenses. Okay, but you have a bit more choice there because of the presence of Jupiter, but you also kind of don't have choice because of the co-presence of Saturn in Pisces, karma, fate, and Uranus in Taurus. Kundalini rise, it just happened. Okay, Uranus transit it just happened. If you're the kind of person that it just happened doesn't exist to, wait until you have a Uranus transit. So yeah, I used to be a lot more judgmental towards myself and towards people before my Uranus transits. Then it was like, there is such a thing as it's just happened. Mars square Jupiter, February 27, is the last big one. Okay, before we talk about the lunations. And I was starting to think, oh my God, I should actually be getting paid for this. So if you do want to pay me, I have a PayPal, and you can do it by donation. So I can put my PayPal in the description, and we'll see where we go. If I have crossed the threshold, I can take an accountant and do my taxes, and I don't know, get a jobby job. So yes, now Mars square Jupiter. This is so meta. Mars rules my second house, Jupiter rules my ascendant. So it's kind of like a casual big offer. Mars is in your 10th, Jupiter in your first. There's a big move again. Mars is ruling your either committed partner or enemy or business partner or hidden enemy. Hopefully not both. So definitely if there are issues, they are going to get big enough to be sorted out. Mars, Jupiter, yes, it's also big drive, big passion, big energy, so to speak. Maybe you attract this, I don't know, or display this. So yes, it's a big one. Yes, both of them are at Jupiter at Venus sign. Mars is not too far from Venus. Money could be going out of the pocket, and this is to do more with your sense of optimism and drive and passion. It's not the fate that like an outer planet meets an inner planet, but if you are the type of person who wants and needs a celebration, and I remind you, February is the month where everything just goes, is kind of like uncorking like a champagne bottle. Um, you're the fluid that spreads out of this bottle, and so you can't really be stopped. So you want to be both compassionate with yourself, but also if you think you can budget and live on a budget this month, um, as Biden says, don't. Don't rely on your being able to live on a budget, okay? Budget for your not being able to live on a budget this month. But you're also making a lot of expenses as to your career. Hopefully, you're not settling a lawsuit with somebody who's overstepped their sexual boundaries or something. But that could be happening, and then you'll be done with that if you don't abuse power. Yes, have to be really authentic with Pluto because, yeah. February 10th, Aquarius. Aquarius lunations, new moon, 20 degrees Aquarius, squaring Uranus, releasing from the square to Uranus. It's a sparkly new beginning. And again, when I say sparkly, remember the sparkling water that you shake, 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 and then open the bottle. That's the sparkling that I'm talking about, okay? So it's that kind of sparkly new beginning. There is an ignition. And when you know that, then you don't have to blame your parents, your neighbors, your siblings, yourself, that it's happening in that way, okay? And it's happening at the workplace. So you could be celebrating a promotion, but kind of feel unnerved by it. There is a real crisis of kind of like your schedule, your habits, your communication, and your home or your house. And maybe you need to leave to another place because you got a promotion, but you need to leave your house. Okay? Again, it's not eclipsed for you. But there's a fated thing, change. The sun rules your residence, moon rules your neighborhood, your neighbors, or your car. Maybe you, I don't know, moving to a van because, not because you were evacuated, God forbid, but because you have to travel when you work, okay? So definitely your career is going to be a bit of your housing with this new beginning, and it's going to unnerve you. But there's also this great desire to have this new beginning. It's like, come on already, okay? There is a sense of rebelliousness, and because Uranus is coming to your first house, you could be rebellious, but also somebody could rebel against you. And that somebody can be an authority figure. Okay? Or your own career side is rebelling against your peace because Taurus ascendant, you want peace. Okay? But when it comes to your career, you like it. Yes, it is a fixed sign. Aquarius is a fixed sign, but you need to rebel. You need to rebel, but you like, and you also want to look at where is your natal Uranus. If it's in a cardinal sign, you like to start a rebellion, but not necessarily continue it. If it is in a mutable sign, you're going to be rebellious when things come to their kind of like process. Okay, something started and then the mutable, you do changing and adaptation, and you rebel this changes and adaptation. It's just like the rebellions is a part of this changing and adaptation. Or there is a revolt, and then you have to adapt. But if it is in a fixed sign, the fixity is rebellion. Like you have a routine of rebelliousness, a routine of being. What stunt do we do today? The daily stunt. Okay, I have Uranus in my third house. I have to do a daily stunt. That's one of the ways that was manifesting. I have to do something, some stunt has to be done today. And every day has to be something new. And so for you, this touches on your career, public reputation, or image. You could be making a lot of changes to like your image. And now there's another one coming in. and it's shocking and unnerving for both you and people around you, especially your siblings or the people that you reside with or grew up with. But it's also much needed and very exciting. So that is something that is coming. Venus, your ruler, your ascendant, is actually trining. Okay, so releasing from a trine, is in the 9th house. So your worldview can accommodate for that, or your academic, I don't know, funding can accommodate for that, or your, yeah, because this is you. Maybe you travel abroad, and that's how you can accommodate for that. Okay. It's like, oh, I cannot be, I don't know, I cannot be an astrologer and make a good enough for living in Israel, but maybe if I move to, okay, not your senate, maybe if I move to this, that, and that other country, I could be making a good living. Maybe I need to do some astrocartography and move to another place, but then what will I do with my pet, and so on. So for you, the pet is like the house, the neighbors, the siblings, the people that you're connected with. Full moon in Virgo. This is February 24. This is the last thing we're talking about. This is the full moon. Moon in Virgo, sun in Pisces, catching on to your 5th and 11th house. Ruler of the sun is in your 1st house. Ruler of the moon is in your 11th house. And Jupiter, ruler of the sun, and Mercury is in your sign, which means Venus, and Venus is releasing from the conjunction with Mars in your 10th house. So again, there's a culmination in your 10th house. Something is revealed about your dreams and goals, or you are revealing your dreams and goals. And there is always a little bit of excitement, tension, okay? And this opposition can simply be your excitement as you announce something, because this something is reached its full growth, and now you're letting it go. So it can be maybe launching something that you release. Okay, usually we want the moon growing on a launch, but sometimes it can simply mean you are ready to release something, or to complete something, or to let go of something. You are revealing something at this time. And there is this Mars-Venus squaring Jupiter. Okay, it's a very big announcement. So again, it's not unlikely that you are becoming a world-renowned something. And there are very big announcements, big decisions, big beginnings. And what I say to you right now maybe can be strange if you feel like, oh, I'm just a common person and I feel so strange with Uranus in my 1st house. I'm one day this and another day that. Yes, darling, you are liberating your life path, so unclogging your energy blocks so that you can become that which you are meant to be. Okay, Uranus will not, when Uranus is in your 1st house, it will not let you not be you. So whatever, there is no chance that you won't be you. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. If you've given up on life, it's going to remind you, oh, God forbid, some people, yes, suicide is associated with Uranus. I don't want to forget that. But mostly it's about Uranus is going to shake you up until you act on being you. And with Venus, it's being. It's not doing. It's not the Mars ascendant. It's being you. And so it allows you to be. Okay, a lot of Uranus on my sun was also allowed me both to rebel, but also in being. A lot of my rebelliousness had to do either with holding a flower or a rose quartz. Okay, have sun opposing Saturn, Saturn's crystals. Yes, there was a lot of action going on. It was also my 2nd house, perfection, which is Mars ruled. But it was a lot about being, or meditating, looking at the clouds. And then when I finally received the Sema Mundi, it was helping me to see things and to be, which was very necessary in the world that we're in. And so a lot about this Uranus in general since 2018 is about you learning how to be. You learning about being, because Venus is being, not so much as doing. It's drawing in, attracting. And you are learning to incorporate that into you. It is in you. It just needs to be liberated, or the energy blocks, the whatever's stopping you needs to be liberated so that you can be. And so if you keep that in mind, it might be easier to understand what is this Uranus doing there, because it's in your first house. It's havoc. You might feel crazy. You might go through all the psychiatric diagnoses possible. Okay, it's about neurodivergence as well. With Venus, those could be relational ones. Okay, so it's like if your diagnosis is a woman, then no, this is not a disease. But it might not feel like that, because you can feel like I'm all the stereotypes of a hysteria, okay? Because it's bubbly, but it's actually not your hysterium, but actually Uranus. It's not yin in any way. So there's a eureka. And so, yes, this is the last thing to mention for you, with a little bit of more an expanded teaching about this Uranus and what's it doing there. You're on your way to do something big, to have a big dream come true. And so it is both exciting, unnerving, requires a lot of changes. Exposing who are your real friends, who are your enemies, who are the people that cannot face you shining, and sever ties with them. Okay, if you can only see me when I need help, and you're the kindest to me when I need help, but whenever I'm standing on my own 2 feet, oh my God, I'm demoted, I'm this, I'm that, okay, then it will be exposed. But you will also see who your friends are. It's like, who are the people who are like, oh, finally you're doing that. And you would be surprised, you would be shocked even, who are there to support you. And say, oh, finally you're doing that. Could be shocked. Maybe if people that you even thought are your opponents or something like that can say, oh, finally you're doing that. Finally you're stepping up to the cameras. Finally you're dealing with, like you understand that you can do your image and do it authentically. Finally all these things happening, okay? You would be shocked at both who your people who are not supportive are, but also who are the people who say, oh, hallelujah, thank you. You are being yourself. You're allowing yourself to be. This is so blessed. It's so good to be around you when you're like that. Okay? So, and also we are compassionate, because if somebody cannot handle you shining, it's about them and their progress and process and how your planets meet them. Okay, what it stirs up in them. So it's important to sever ties if it's no longer serving and so on. So yes, this is for you, Taurus. Exciting. Thank you for the likes, comments, shares. If you want my PayPal, I will put it on the description, or you can write me a comment if you want that. So thank you. Bye-bye.